Hello, my name is Juneen Belknap Kirk, and I'm excited to be speaking today about the future of insurance, part of a series that we are discussing about next in 2030. And I'm very, very pleased to have Claire Burns joining me. Claire is the Executive Vice President and Chief Marketing and Communications Officer at the Hartford. Thank you, Claire, for joining us. So as we thought about the future of insurance and what things are going to look like in 2030, we actually started by taking a step back and looking at some of our predictions for 2020. And many things we were pretty close on. We felt good. A few things we saw didn't advance quite as quickly as we thought. And so when we thought about 2030, we took a step back and said, maybe we should think of future scenarios that could happen and not predict just one future world. And so we looked at change across the spectrum. The first being a scenario where insurers are focused on incremental change. The second, where they're looking at pragmatic evolution. The third, where they're focused on customer first. And the fourth, which is radical reinvention. And through conversations with clients, as we've been socializing some of these ideas, one of the things that always strikes me is people say, we're always aspirationally customer first. But when I look at the industry, I say, it doesn't always feel like we're customer first. So maybe we have different definitions. So my first question, Claire, I would love to hear from you. What does customer first insurance mean to you?
That's a great question. And thank you for having me here today. I love your scenarios and I like the way you're framing this. When we plan, we think about scenarios too. So, really good. But to answer your question, for me, customer first means you're designing around the customer, you're designing for their needs. And typically, insurance companies are very product centric. They're wholly organized around what they're trying to sell and what they're going to put in market, and they don't necessarily think about the customer. To become customer first, a carrier has to radically rethink the way we're oriented, the way we deliver products, the way we go to market, and how we think about ultimately who we're selling to.
So I'll pick on one word. You said you have to radically reinvent. We say we want to do that. It sounds really hard though. So what are some of the barriers to being customer?
The first is complexity. Our products are challenging, they're difficult, they're complex, they're difficult to describe. And so that makes it sometimes hard to think about how you can put them in market in a way that's super easy and discernible to customers. And to be customer first, you have to get into their mindset and be simple. The second is really our distribution model. We've been designed to sell through intermediaries for a very, very long time. And having that intermediary, that salesperson, that agent, that broker, really helps minimize the complexity that the customer actually feels. But to minimize that complexity, that intermediary has to be in the mix. And we kind of design ourselves to keep that complexity as inherent to our distribution model. That's the value add that the distributor offers. So we're very institutionally aligned behind that intermediary model, which means we'll continue to perpetuate the complexity. It's in everyone's best interest to do that, except in the interest of the customer who really would like it to be simple, straightforward, not complicated, and frankly, not feel like a chore to go out and buy insurance. Right now, it's not anyone's favorite thing to do. And there really are ways, if you look around the world and at different models, there really are ways to make it simple.
How do you technology and all the technology advances playing a role in helping to drive some simplicity? Does that help? Does that complicate? Are there great advances that you're excited about?
Yeah, technology is critically important to making it simple. It's critically important to personalizing offers. When you think about the role of an insurance company, an insurance carrier, we're all about taking risk and the science of risk and applying it to expand possibilities for customers. And to do that, we need to be able to absorb, interrogate, and analyze a ton of data. And technology makes that, enables that, helps us do it much more quickly. So technology enables better data access, better data analytics, better data processing. It also helps us be much more agile and much quicker to market in terms of the way we do business. I had the experience recently of going to Lloyd's of London. We have a desk there, the Hartford does, along with many, many other insurance carriers. And that's where insurance was invented. Every single carrier had a desk, and a customer would come in with a challenge, or a broker would come in with a challenge, and they would go desk to desk and see what different carriers would offer. And this whole idea that you needed to do this in a very manual way is kind of part of the origins of the industry and of the product and of the offer that we make. So the idea that you can do it all digitally is kind of frightening to people. It sort of disrupts the norms of how we grew up as an industry, but it's absolutely necessary to do it to deliver at the speed and at the personalization and customization level that customers are demanding if we're truly going to be customer first.
What's more personal than looking at each individual person's scenario and seeing what can we do to help here? You shared we have to get more simple. We have to have this customer oriented mindset. I think a lot of that comes from having really customer centric operating models at the core of our organizations. Who do you see driving that change to customer centric operating models? Is it carriers? We're going to do it to ourselves? Is it distributors forcing the change? Is it customer driving some significant change? Where's that coming from?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I would say the change is coming from customers. It's coming from the way they do business in every other aspect of their lives, the way they communicate, the way they transact online and digitally. They have demands for more real time information, for more simplicity, for more straightforward mechanisms. They want everything to be as easy as buying something in Amazon. And so, with those expectations, insurers have to shift. I would say the companies, there's two different types of insurance companies. Well, there's many different types, but there's digitally native insurers who have actually designed around the customer from the beginning. There's very few of those. They don't see this as a big burning platform because they've been doing it right from their inception. But the vast majority of insurers have long legacies, and in that long legacy, we've taken a long time to grow and transform technology over time. My company is 215 years old. So to actually transform is really hard. So we're not the ones that are necessarily driving the change. It's really the customers that are demanding it and demanding things differently. But say distributors are not demanding change. They are kind of comfortable in the model that they're in and the role that they play. And the role that they play is super valuable. But there is a role for digital, for customer first. When you think about it, only 20% of insurance today is sold online. 80% is sold through intermediaries and through a traditional process. So there's a ton of opportunity to make this better.
I'm all for making it better. It's an exciting prospect. Claire, I'm going to jump into a great consulting buzzword, and I'd like you to help me break it down to normal English. We've been talking a lot about ecosystems in insurance and ecosystems that people live in, move in and out of. Is orchestrating ecosystems in insurance an effective way to stand out in the industry? And what does that mean?
When you think about insurance, we're essentially taking risk that our customers are facing and we're transferring that risk to us. And it can be a very simple value exchange. But sometimes the customer is looking for more. And when they're looking for more, we want to make ourselves more relevant to the customer, to be more involved, to be with them in different facets of their lives. And the only way to do that is to be part of an ecosystem that's more relevant to them than the insurance purchase itself. Say, for example, you're a small business owner and you're setting up business for the first time. There's a lot of needs that you have as you're setting up business. One of them is getting access to capital. One is getting access to real estate. One is getting access to talent. But one is getting access to insurance. That insurance decision is probably among the least important from the business owner's perspective. If we want to play a more meaningful role in that customer's life, we need to be part of a bigger set of services. We can do that as an orchestrator of an ecosystem, meaning that we, the Hartford, brings all of these services to the small business owner, but that probably doesn't make sense. They're probably not going to go to their insurance company and say, I expect you to be the one that's bringing all these services together. That would be orchestrating. We found it to be much more compelling to be participating in the ecosystem, to be one of the services that small business owner gets in this package, in this ecosystem package, where maybe it's their payroll provider that brings them all the services. And then we're one of them. We don't usually see the insurer as the orchestrator. There are some exceptions. In China, for example, some of the health insurance companies have become very effective orchestrators of ecosystems, but healthcare is very different. There's so many needs, and they do sit at a place where they're the payer and they can bring the parties together. It's a little bit more complicated in our insurance systems here.
So how do you decide who to partner with and how to find the right ecosystems to get connected to?
So, when looking for ecosystem partners, you're looking for something that's relevant and meaningful to your customer every day, something, an institution they can trust. You're looking to ideally join an existing ecosystem that's already proven and then bring your product into the suite of products. I have a couple of experiences personally with the Hartford, but also in my prior life. When I was at Prudential International, we were the life insurance provider for Indonesia and Malaysia on the Zangan ecosystem, which was a very robust ecosystem of insurance products that customers across Asia could buy from a Chinese insurer. Similarly, we participated in a Amazon-like proposition in Brazil, where we were the insurance carrier that business owners could go to on that ecosystem. But it was already a well-established ecosystem, and we were just coming in as a player that we knew that our product was valuable and meaningful. And if it were alongside those other ones, we were able to see immediate uptick. At the Hartford, we've been participating with payroll providers, and we have a lot of resonance in those ecosystems. Again, because we joined an ecosystem that was already existent, thriving, relevant, meaningful, and working on behalf of the customer.
Fabulous. Those are exciting examples and opportunities that I hope we get to see more of here in the States. So we talked a couple times about radical change, radical refocus on the customer. If there was one radical change that would revolutionize the industry, what do you think that change is? And is it worth actually pursuing?
Yeah. If there were one radical change that I would recommend for the industry, it would be data for good. Today, customers think about insurance companies using data against them, not for them. And when you go to buy insurance, you think, oh my gosh, how do I fill out this form? How do I give them information in a way that's not going to end up penalizing me? If we were to flip that proposition as insurers and say, we have all this data about you, and instead of using it to penalize you, we're going to use it to help you inform and make better choices in your life, that would be flipping the value exchange in a way that would be super compelling. We transfer risk from customers today. What if we were to prevent risk for them, help them have the information that they need to live their lives more fully and better because they're emboldened and empowered with the same data that we are using to determine all the risks in their lives? So data for good is my reinvention radical idea. Lots of people probably have the idea, but I think we're taking strides to try to make that part of our everyday reality for our customers.
I love the concept of really insurance at its heart, helping people to live better lives. That's what people care about. That's what we want to support. Those are the kind of causes and values that so many people can flock to, whether that's new talent, whether that's our customers, our distribution partners, et cetera. So that's a very exciting prospect for the future.